I really
You're most welcome.
appreciate this opportunity. And I always enjoy our conversations. And for you bringing me now again to your audience um, years later, I appreciate it really. So thank you for having me here. Um, so, who is Sylvia Morrison? I am, well, I was born and raised in Jamaica, and I've always known that I am an African child, even when I was a little girl. And so, for years throughout my childhood, I thought about and dreamed about the time when I could move and live in somewhere in Africa. At the time, I didn't know yet where in Africa I wanted to be, but I just felt in my heart that I was an African child. So, who is if I'm to say who I am in one sentence, I am an African child.
Thank you.
African child.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Mama, you were teaching.
Yes, yes. I'm a teacher. I think teaching is actually the thing. A teacher, if there's a role I've been given since before I was born, I think I came into this
Mhm,
world, this earth, to teach.
mhm,
But teaching as a career is something that is different than my calling as a teacher, I feel. So I
mm,
stepped away from the classroom, from teaching in the classroom, but I continue to teach because I honestly feel that always in every conversation that I'm having, it's
mhm,
an opportunity for me to teach and to learn. So
mm.
it's always happening for me, teaching. I really love teaching.
You said you live in your dream.
Yes, yes. My dream of, as I mentioned earlier, I really, growing up, felt that I was an African child. And when I went to Ghana for the very first time in 2006, I saw little girls who looked just like me. I saw that they just looked like that was me, the little girl me, running around barefooted, jumping around, playing. They were doing ampy. I used to be
Yes.
doing other things, right? But it's the similar games that we
Yes.
play.
Mhm,
And so it was my dream as I would see them to be in a place where I can help them to have some of what I had growing up as a child.
mhm,
I could see some of the same bright smiles,
mhm,
beautiful brown eyes. And I missed what I noticed that I missed was them having access to books. I wanted to see children having access to books because me growing up in Jamaica, the thing that really helped me to imagine and to dream and to aspire to be more than I saw around me was the library in my village.
mhm.
In Jamaica, we didn't call it a village, we called it a district, but it's the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. And so I wanted to see children just sitting under a tree. In fact, the image I had in my mind was a little girl, a little boy sitting under a big mango tree,
Mm.
a big mango tree, like,
Mm.
like the one.
Oh, yes,
I
yes,
wanted to
yes.
see them sitting under the mango tree holding a book in their hand, just reading. Not because the teacher said go and read, not because anybody said go and read, but just go and read because they love reading and because they have access to books. So that became a dream for me to
Mhm,
see children sitting under a tree
mhm.
reading a book just for the love of reading.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Now, I know you also did Inspired Living, a guide to ignite joy and prosperity. I
Yeah.
am moving from Grace's lunch to that because you're talking about living a dream.
Mhm.
And the reason why I really want to talk a little bit more about that
Mhm.
is Many of us,
Mhm.
say Black Canadians, African Americans,
Yeah.
really would love, some would love to transition and
Mhm.
go live in Ghana.
Yes.
There's a trend, but to make that decision, what were some of the challenges you had to face? And if you were to walk through your path of attaining what you have right now, for
Mhm.
some of us to also be able to learn from your footsteps,
Yes.
how would you describe it for us?
The thing with me is this. There's a there is a kind of childish naivety
Mm,
that I live with.
mhm,
Um, and I think it causes me to trust in a way that most people don't. So I really believe that even when I'm making a decision that is as scary as ever, and that I haven't done all of the research so that
mm.
I can make an informed decision. Like
I'm
most
not
people.
laughing. Oh.
Yeah. So
Mhm,
I don't, for me, I trust. I
mm,
trust my intuition.
mhm,
I trust my spirit guide. I
mhm,
trust that what I'm here to do is more important
mhm,
than making sure that I am having all of the details to manage the risk.
mhm.
Because what's the biggest risk? The biggest risk for anybody is death,
Which is assured
which is
for each one of
inevitable.
us. It's inevitable.
So the
True.
way I look at it is I really believe in being connected with my heart. And when I'm connected with my heart tells me. My heart, I'm not talking about my physical heart that is pumping blood around my body. I'm talking with my intuition, with my spirit. Some of us might call it a gut feeling.
Mhm,
It's, an inspired idea to do something
mhm,
that is going to make a difference. And sometimes when people hear me say make a difference, they're thinking, oh, she means humanitarian work. No, it can be to make a difference in your own life. It can be a difference to change a job. It can be a difference of stepping away from a certain relationship or getting into a certain relationship.
mhm,
But in order to be able to make the decision well, being grounded in who I am, knowing that I am not just a physical being,
mm.
I am actually a spirit being living in this body. Therefore, I trust what the spirit is saying.
Oh, mm,
Yeah,
okay. Mm. Mama, you speaking my language.
that is what I trust.
Mhm,
So if somebody says, give me the steps to walk from, to take the risk, the steps I'm giving you are steps that they're not mechanical. I'm teaching you how to know that the dream that is in your heart
mhm,
is right for you.
mhm, mhm,
There's a system that I teach
mhm,
that helps one to know that the dream in their heart is right for you.
mhm,
There's certain questions I have you answer.
mhm,
How does it make it feel? Does it enliven you?
mhm,
Do you feel when this thing comes into your heart like, I want to do this? Is there good in it for other people?
mhm, mhm.
This thing, whatever it is, it could be a dream to be the best dog poop picker upper. Is there good in it for others? You answer that question. Yes. Will
Then
it
I think
cause?
I'm on the right path.
Yes. You don't have to think. You just know.
I know. Yes.
You see, you just know that you're on the right path. And will I need help from a higher power in order to do this thing? Because this is the other thing. For many, when we have this strong desire in our heart to do something, to be someone, to to make an impact in a certain way. And we are thinking, oh, well, I don't have the education, I don't have the money, I don't have the strength, I don't have the. We look at all of what we don't have. One of the ways that we can also check to see if this thing is right for me, question I ask you to think about and answer is, will you need help from a higher power in order to do that? Another question is, will it cause me to grow? If you already have all of what it takes to do it, you know the way already and all of that, it's not a dream. It's nothing. It's just a everyday normal wake up, move over there, come back, sit here, get up again, do it tomorrow. That's not something. We're here to grow. And so the thing that you're being called to do, just like a tree, you're being called to grow. So you are not going to know all that there is to know in order to do the thing or be the one you're here to be. You have to be willing to make the moves that you're being called to make. That's what a tree does, and it has no brain, as far as I know.
Okay, okay,
Maybe
okay.
because it has no brain, it just knows that it is a tree and it is here to grow, and
Grow.
it's growing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That is true. That is true.
I could keep
Wow.
going. I
I,
could write a book.
if we don't stop here with that, I think the whole intention of this interview is this conversation is going to shift from Grace's lunch. But I really want us to concentrate on Grace's lunch.
Okay. Well, Grace's
But
lunch
it's
is
also
also
equally
a part of the
important.
dream. You
Yes,
see, Grace's lunch is part of the
of
dream
the dream.
because there's there's a time I thought my life was. I was wondering, how am I going to manage my life in these compartments? And I
Mm,
realized, no, I don't need to compartmentalize my life. I don't have to be a humanitarian over here and a teacher over here and a coach over here and a consultant over. No, because to be honest, what I do is the same thing. I just do it in different ways. I just do it in different ways. When I go into companies where I'm consulting around strategic planning and so on, I am doing that with them in a way that causes transformation in the company. When I work with my students, I say to my students, it's not about your exams why I teach. I teach because I care about who you are becoming in the process of being a student with me teaching, us learning together. Is a transformation. When I work with communities, building libraries, running reading clubs and reading programs, and when I take volunteers with me to Ghana to do this work, it's the same thing. It's about transformation. I care about who my volunteers become by the end of the process. I care about who the communities become, the transformation that happens by the end of the. In my reading clubs, my kids are now becoming solution finders. We have the I Can Club. Yes, because I've heard too many in the villages saying, "Oh, the problem is, the problem is, the problem is," and I thought,
we know
oh,
the problem. So what's the solution?
exactly. So I'm now working with the kids to be solution finders because the adults can find the problems very easily. So I want to. I'm training the kids. Sorry.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now I'm working with the kids and they're excited. They're becoming the solution finders. So at our I Can Club, which is really our reading club, I say to
Mhm.
them, we are the I Can Club. And I give them assignments to go into their families. I say, so next week you come back, each person will come, they will tell me what the problem is. They found a problem. There was an issue somewhere, either in their classroom, on the
Mhm.
playground, in their families, somewhere in the community, at a shop, somewhere. They saw something that was a problem and they thought about a solution and they did something about it. And then they come back and they tell us what they did. And then we talk about what difference it made. And what I see is that now they're getting excited about that. So they try to find things that they need to come up with a solution for. And our conversations are amazing.
A mindset revolution.
It's happening.
Thank you. No, I'm so excited about it because it's one of those things that I've noticed it for a while in Ghana.
Mhm,
And when you talk to somebody, all you hear are excuses and blame without solution
mhm,
focus. So we have all these excuses. How do we make it better? You and
mhm,
I can do something
yeah,
about it
mhm,
because we have God-given brains that
mhm,
can think
mhm,
just like anybody else. So
mhm,
I'm really excited that the children and eh, this is something that I for some of us who are so energetic, we needed teachers like you to enhance us rather than the other teachers that actually suppressed us. Some of us, they
mhm,
tried but it didn't work, obviously. Yes, it didn't work. So I'm really excited and I hope
mhm.
to be able to join you one of these days to actually
Hurry
make
up.
it, yes, add my voice to your voice to make it bigger and cause a bigger ripple. You've
I would
started
love
the
that.
ripple. So yes, yes, I'm excited. I'm excited. So basically, you inspiring the children as thought leaders.
Yes, yes, it's important. And that is so something I need to tell you is, well, I feel the need to tell you that I wrote Grace's Lunch to prove a point.
Hmm.
Actually, it's one of the reasons I wrote it. And it's not a point to prove to the world that I can write a book. No,
Hmm.
it's because for several months, for probably a year or a little more, I had been saying to kids in our reading programs that authors are ordinary people like
Hmm.
themselves
Hmm.
who have a story to tell or
Hmm.
some information to share, and they decided to write the information or the story in a book. And we looked at who is the illustrator of the book, who
Hmm.
is the author, where was all of that. How does a book
Hmm.
come together?
Yeah.
And then one day, one of the little boys in my reading program, and he asked me, "So, Mama, did you write a book?" Yes, that's the $1 million question. Because you're
Yep.
telling us, right? You're telling us we can do it. It's easy.
Has the leader done
Ordinary
it?
people have done it. Has the leader done it? Mama, and he was not challenging me. He really wanted to hear which book
Hmm.
I had written. Maybe it's in the library and he didn't know.
Hmm.
And so quickly I thought to myself, if I say no to him, I would burst his bubble.
Hmm.
Yeah, because he was now at the point where they were all beginning to believe that it is true what Mama is saying. They could write a book. So he just wants to see hers. So I
Hmm.
couldn't say no, but at the same time I couldn't lie to him because the lie would I would be busted at some point. But there was another truth. You see, there's not always only one answer, one right answer to a question. I also teach them that. So another right answer was not
That's
yet.
it.
Not yet. And when I said to him, not yet, I was happy that I found the answer not yet. And I didn't have to use the answer no.
No. Yes.
So I said, not yet. And then immediately Spirit said, and so you will write it. So I knew I would write it. I didn't know what it was.
You needed a catalyst.
No idea. And so one day I was making a presentation here in Toronto. I was making a presentation to a group of tweens who had done a craft project to raise funds to give to me to help with an arts program that I was running in Ghana.
Mhm.
And I wanted to show them what we created from the money that they had raised from their crafts project. And as I was showing them the pictures and telling them about the kids and how we did, I just heard in my spirit that we're building a movement. And I said to them, we're building a movement of children sharing what they have and what they can with other children. And immediately I remembered a story about my own life as a child. And this story came into
Okay.
my heart. I left from that presentation and I quickly jotted down what came to my heart. And months later, I found a mentor to work with me to write this book.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is beautiful.
yeah.
Now you talk about mentorship.
Yes. Mentorship is very important. Very important. I mean, you know, every athlete who takes his sport, her sport seriously has a coach. More than some of them have more than one.
Mhm.
Yes. You anything at all that is important enough to you to do right, to live it well. You have a coach, a teacher, a mentor for it. Mentors are important. Yeah, I'm a life mastery consultant. It's important. I have mentors and I always have and I take it very seriously. Yeah.
What is a mastery consultant? You said I ask.
So folks come to me.
Mhm,
Folks come to me because they're looking at, for example, you asked earlier, how would how would somebody who wants to do
mhm,
make the moves in their lives something similar to what I've done or any other move in their
mhm,
life? How? And I am able to sit with them or stand with them, but be with them and listen to what it is that they're hearing, or sometimes help them to hear what it is that is being said that they're not hearing, and and then decide on what could a map for that which you're desiring to create or to be or to have
mhm,
or to do. What would that look like? What is the plan? So in some cases I'm helping to build a bridge that
mhm,
takes you from where you are because you know what it is that you want to do to the place that you, because there is some scaffolding images that we need to build and some structures in place that are needed to help you cross.
mhm.
And so,
Yeah.
yes.
Wow.
Mhm.
So Grace's Lunch is number one bestseller on Amazon.
Yes,
On
enjoy.
Amazon, it's only $16 or so,
My
and it's very
pleasure.
special. I have to get my copy as well. Now, what are some of the lessons? Say, just give me two lessons
Hmm.
that the Grace's Lunch is to instill
Hmm.
in us.
Yes.
It's a children's book,
Yes.
but doing children's literature, Black Canadian children's literature for a little bit as well.
Hmm.
Even children's literature teaches adults lessons. So we should not think it's just for kids.
Thank you.
No, there are lessons in children's literature. And the question is, who writes children's literature?
I love that question. I want to come back to that question. Who writes children's literature? Yes. So, but I want to answer the question about tell you at least two messages that are in
Yes.
Grace's lunch. One of them is that everyone can make a difference by doing even one small thing. A lot of times we see something that needs to be done. We see something we want to have changed in our community or in our workplace or at home or wherever. And we just think somebody else should do it. Or we just think, I don't know how to do it. So I'm just miserable or upset by it, but I can't do anything. In Grace's lunch, Grace saw an issue that was challenging for her, that she thought something needed, it was upsetting to her. And she took it on as a responsibility for her, an opportunity to do something to make a difference. And she just did one small thing. Um, Another lesson, I mean, there are many lessons in this little book. I could, yeah,
I don't want you to give it all up.
no. That's why
That's
I'm
why
not
I
telling the
asked for
story.
only two, so that we'll go
Yeah,
get a book and read with our children, or do a reading and find out what the rest of the lessons are.
thank you. Another lesson that is in here that is good for adults and children. I really think this book is for adults and children. It's for everybody. It's
Mhm,
just written so that children will gravitate to it right
mhm,
away. But
mhm.
it's for the messages in here are for adults and children. What another one is, that we, as I said earlier, sometimes the thing that we are called to do or we feel in our heart that we need to act on, will you need help from a higher power? And sometimes, higher power might sound to someone like it must be some very big something I have to go through. In this book, Grace saw this issue that she wanted to see something else happen. She wanted to see a change. She wanted it to be different. And yes, it was on her mind for a long time. And what Grace did, she had a way that she would communicate with a presence that she trusted, that she knew could help her to deal with what was going on in her heart and to bring a solution to the issue that she was seeing. And so she spent time. She would have regular conversations, and that was how she found the solution for the problem that she was seeing. It was,
The reason why I'm smiling was it's sort of like a eureka moment, and um, I've forgotten the name of this person, trying to look for how to calculate the weight of an object,
mhm,
and realize that sitting in the bathtub, his weight, displays the water.
mhm.
So he figured if he knows the weight of the water and his weight, the displacement will be how do we call it?
The result that he's looking for?
The result
Ye
he's looking for, my physics or whatever is. And so it's like the eureka moment. The mindset has to be in a frame of solution focused
Yes.
thinking.
Yeah.
And just like I believe, Mama, that so for those who believe in God, spirituality, whatnot, that the answers are all there,
Mhm.
but we need to be tuned into a solution focused mindset so that when the solution approaches us,
Yeah, you see it.
thank you.
Yes. If you're not looking for solutions, you will not find them. As much as we are most times when we get something that we really want or we find something, we see it, we're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." But the truth is, you find it because you were looking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we find solutions when we're looking for them. That's been my experience, and I've been in this world for a long time.
And I think for me, it was when I stopped complaining.
Yes. Yes.
I stopped complaining, and I was grateful for my
Mm,
life.
yes.
This
Yes.
breath that you can't see me breathing,
That's
the
right.
air.
Yes.
Yes, and
Mhm,
everything that I say, every little thing
mhm,
that I have, because when I look at me and I look at other people in certain situations, I
mhm,
am so gifted
mhm,
that I don't see the reason to complain about anything. I
mhm.
have to be grateful. And well, I love that it also helps with my blood pressure. I call myself Happiness Incorporated.
Mhm. Yeah, it's good.
And yes, yes, because there's a lot more to be grateful for. And so,
Mhm.
in that case, for me to be able to have amazing people just like yourself, Mama, so that when I call, you don't say, "Oh, this girl is bothering me, leave me alone," because I'm
No.
not bringing negativity into your environment.
Mm.
Otherwise, you told me to stay there.
No, no.
So, Mama,
Yes,
Grace's lunch.
yes,
You wrote it with these children in mind, and also
yes,
as adults
yes,
for the
yes.
lessons that need to be learned. But publishing,
Mhm.
how was the whole process like?
Publishing, I tell you, I have to give big props to Miriam Laundry Publishing.
Hmm.
That's who I worked with. I hired Miriam Laundry Publishing. She was my mentor working on this book.
Hmm.
When the idea, for months, I kept just asking people. That's why I say mentorship is important.
Yeah.
If you're going to do something that is important to you,
Hmm.
pay the money for mentorship.
Hmm.
Find somebody who has done it before you, who knows what they're doing and can do it well. When we try to do it on the cheap, thinking I can do it myself, doesn't work.
Hmm.
Or you end up with a book that is sitting in your garage. That
It's
happens.
true. Yes.
Yes, it happens,
Hmm.
So what happened for me, and I could feel very strongly
Hmm.
that Spirit was saying, this is important. It needs to happen now.
Hmm.
And I started asking friends, right? Like I would ask somebody who I've heard, this one has written children's book, that one has written, oh, this one. And I would look and the book would look nice. And I'm thinking, okay, somebody says, look at this book over there. And then I would ask, can you tell me how to write a children's book? I want to write a book about so and so. No one, no one could actually tell me the steps.
Mm.
And it's not because they didn't want to. Well, I don't think it's because they didn't want to. But I think, well, for me, I want, if you're going to tell me how to write it and I'm going to write it, it's going to be done well. So I'm asking questions that they couldn't actually answer.
Answer.
So I realized that my friends that I was asking to tell me how, it was too much for them. And
Mm.
so I kind of decided, okay, I'm just going to rest it for now because I don't know and I don't know what to do. So I kind of decided to put it on a back burner and it will come back when it's time. And I got very sick and I was sick for many months. And then when I not many months, many weeks, sorry.
Mhm.
And then when I was able to get up and get back to drink some water, yes, tea, I could see. Yes, we are human beings. We cough sometimes.
Yeah.
So I noticed when I was able to get back to my computer the first day, the first email I could read that day was somehow an email from Miriam Laundry. And what I saw was closing, doors closing. I'm thinking doors closing. I had a concussion. So I'm thinking doors
Oh.
closing. What does that mean? Yes, it's true. I had a concussion. And so I was recovering from that.
Mhm.
And I thought, what does that mean? So I'm reading a little more and I could notice that the date was like it is tomorrow. Doors closing tomorrow. And if you've been wanting to write a children's book, Now is so I
Mm.
reached out to her. I just hit reply and I said I would like to have a conversation because honestly, I know I wasn't thinking straight, but I know doors closing mean doors closing. You can't get in.
Oh, Lord. Oh, jeez, I'm about to snort on air.
No. So
Oh,
So
jeez.
I so we had a conversation and
Mm,
she told me about her process and the cost and everything. And I just decided I'm going to do it. And so that was how I had mentorship to
mhm,
write. I was in this mastermind for 9, 10 months and walked us through the process step by step, including the editor. I'm telling you, the editor I had, I would not be, I don't even think I could hire this woman on my own. I don't think she would even, I wouldn't find her anyway.
mhm.
So I wouldn't have access to her. Me, I wouldn't know how to search for an editor. I didn't know how to search for an illustrator, right? All of those steps. There's so many steps to doing something that looks like, someone looks at a children's book and they say, oh, it's just a children's book, just has
Mhm.
some nice pictures.
There's a lot of work.
y- to find, oh, I did not know it took all of that team
Mhm.
to create it, right? And so I really respect the process, and I'm glad that I did that. So it was Miriam Laundry Publishing, and I found my illustrator, Shani Ahmed. I love that young woman. When I handed off my manuscript for her to read it and to tell me what she would do in terms of illustration, so we had many conversations about that. And I remember it was probably our second conversation as we were describing what the images would be that would illustrate what parts. She knew the story that I had written because I wrote it. I gave her my manuscript. She knew this story by memory more than I did. I wrote it and I had to look at my manuscript to remember when she's asking me, like, so what would you like her invisible friend to look like? I'm thinking, what did I say
Mm.
about her invisible friend again? I have to try to remember. So I look at my manuscript. She knew it, she knew the whole story. And I just loved that she cared so much about this story that she would take it in and go to bed with it in her heart and wake up with it and be driving with it. And right? So it's that kind of care, to bring it about. And yeah,
Wow.
mentorship is important.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for asking me that question.
I think, I believe it's one of those things that we often do not think about.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you ask, we need help, but we
Mhm.
don't want somebody to hear that
Yes.
we need help. So
Okay.
we don't seek for that support.
Mhm.
And as much as somebody will look and say, "Oh, you're doing a podcast, you are okay," and whatnot, I fall short
Yes.
on a lot of things, and I'm very much aware of it.
Mhm.
And like, I meet people, and you know more than I do. I tell you, I'm going to harass you with love. You're going to be my mentor. I don't wait for, because if I don't, I need it. I don't know everything.
No, you don't. Yeah, we can't. Nobody does. Yeah.
And it takes them by surprise. And it's like, no, you have what I need. And I admire what you have.
Mm.
And I want to learn even just a wee bit to
Mhm.
add to my repertoire.
Mhm. Mhm. It's important. Yeah.
Yes, Mama. So,
Mhm.
for anybody listening to this conversation, mentorship is very important.
Mhm.
And with the right mentorship, you are able to live your dreams. And
Yes.
it's all got to start with your mindset. And as I'll say as Black people, sometimes we think about so much about the money
Mhm. Yeah.
that sometimes, we need to shed, but we also got to remember the value.
Yes, it's a value. Mhm.
Don't think about only the money, but think about the value.
Mhm. Mhm.
And this book is going to have so much impact
Yes. Yeah.
on lives.
And imagine now, because after I wrote this, I felt confident. I am feeling confident right now that I am now going to be writing with my kids, with the kids in Ghana. This is the part that lights me up.
But also realize that, Mama, for instance, I always say that storytelling
Yes.
and all this podcast is also because I grew up in Ghana during the era of By the Fireside by Mame.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
I am a part of that generation who were influenced, like Oswald, like Nana Sase, and
Mm-hmm,
all those people that watched Mame Dokno doing
mm-hmm,
By the Fireside. I'm part of that generation
mm-hmm,
of listening to those storytelling, Anansi storytelling.
mm-hmm.
But it's morphed and developed into something. So she did it, but I took
Yes.
it.
Mm-hmm,
And I'm just thinking about the future of these children, the greats like Chimamandas that are going to come out of this because
mm-hmm.
they have this,
Yeah,
these seeds planted in them whilst they were so young.
that's right.
I remember being told, you asked for you, everything is book, book, book. Yes, I still love to read. There's a book here, children's book, Black Girl Magic.
Mm-hmm,
I have my Ghanaian authors that I want to read their books, Yvonne Nelson and Ajete, and these I recently got from Ghana.
mm-hmm.
And then occasionally I have my psychology also, Immunity to Change. I needed to read that one because I really needed to understand why we don't want to change. The mindset is set in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it is beautiful. It is beautiful. So, Mama, thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank
As I watched on TV and it's impacted my life for me to be here and go
you.
places,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mama, you
Yeah.
I don't want to be a prophetess, as the Ghanaians would say.
Be a
Prophet.
prophetess if you want, because I would love to. I've been thinking about not exactly by the fireside, but not that name, but I've been thinking about how can I in Ghana it will happen.
Oh no, that is going to happen. And in February, I intend to get all the authors, children's authors I've interviewed to do a fireside chat. It's my intention to get that done in February, Black History Month, from Nigeria to Zimbabwe to Ghana to do a fireside chat. So, Mama, you are not running away from that.
But something I want to tell you about what we're doing. So Grace's lunch. One of the things that I'm doing with about this is I want when I return to Ghana now to be able to place one of these in in the hands of as many children as possible. And it is for two things. One is so that they can say, this is my own book. It's not just the one in the library, but it is mine. I can take it home. I can sit down and read it for as many times as I want. And then the other thing is, we are going to be writing. So by September of next year, there will be published authors from one of the villages that we are in. Of course, I'm starting at home. Can you imagine little kids? Some of them have never been to Accra and they will be published authors. Can you imagine it? I
And
can hardly wait.
I think the Ghana Writers Association needs to take notes of
I
that.
should find them.
Connect with Oswald.
Okay.
Ghana Writers Association needs to connect with that when they do the children's reading sessions to include those children in it as well. It is beautiful. It is beautiful.
Yes, I'm
So
excited.
you said you intend to get a copy in each children's hands. You're
Yes.
here November 25th. You have a program November 25th. Could you please
Yes,
elaborate on that?
that's right. Yes. So in Brampton, downtown Brampton, at the Brampton Wellness Center, it used to be called the Brampton Dental Clinic,
Mm,
but it is the Wellness Center downtown Brampton. They're hosting a um, table talk. So I am the guest speaker at the table talk on that Saturday. That's this coming Saturday, actually,
yes.
and they're also inviting folks to come in and buy a copy of Grace's Lunch or donate a copy of Grace's Lunch for a child in Ghana. So we're hoping to see as many people there as possible to just fill out that wellness center. And I'll be sharing, based on who's there and whether we're talking about living the dream, building the dream that's in your heart, or working on something that you want to work on, or just hear about what Links Across Borders is doing in Ghana and how folks can participate. Many people want to travel to Ghana to volunteer with Links Across Borders. We'll talk about some of that too. And yeah.
Beautiful. But before you leave, because we cannot just see the book, hear two lessons, and not have a sample.
You want to see? You want to see something more?
We want to read a little bit, or
Oh,
as I say, a little bit.
a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Where should I read from? Since we're talking about It's Grace's lunch, so I'll read a page about the lunch. At lunchtime, Grace and her friends, Afia and Essie, ran to their usual spot under the big mango trees. The mango trees were tall, with large trunks and strong branches that spread in all directions like the tentacles of an octopus. The branches touched each other and formed a large canopy that provided cool shade from the heat and brightness of the sun. As soon as they arrived under the mango trees, the rustling of the wind among the leaves increased, and suddenly, boom! A big ripe mango fell from the tree. Ripe mangoes usually fall from the trees during the night. If they were lucky, the girls knew that they could be the first to spot the good mangoes. Essie and Afia ran to get the mango. Essie got there first and danced joyfully. I'll take this mango home to my mom. She loves mangoes, Essie exclaimed with a big smile on her face. Grace pulled out her lunch. Let's eat, she said. I'll stop there. You can figure out what happened next.
Mm, I can just see myself.
Oh, I love this story.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now I want to know the rest.
Yes.
Guys, that was a teaser. It's been a beautiful conversation with Sylvia Morrison, or as I call her, Mama, my
Yes.
one and only Mama, author, speaker, philanthropist, life mastery consultant.
Thank you.
And what is your saying? Everyone has what it takes to create the change they desire by doing one small thing.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
don't need to change the whole world.
No.
There is, I think, is it William Blake, the world in a grain of sand.
Mm,
Yes. So You can do one small thing
One
to
small thing.
change, and then I do my one small thing to change,
Mhm,
and Mama does one small thing to
mhm.
change, and
Yeah.
collectively
Yeah,
we make a huge change.
absolutely.
Tiny drops of water makes a mighty ocean.
Yes.
Mama,
Yes.
always a pleasure, always
Mm,
a pleasure.
thank you.
The lessons you teach, oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Taking us into accountability. Oh man, I tell you. And
Thank
these
you.
children are really privileged to have you in their lives, because I know with no uncertain terms that they are going to be change makers,
Yes.
and they are going to transform this world
Mhm.
that we live in.
Yeah.
Even though we don't see them, wherever the corner they are, that
Mhm.
impact is going to be huge.
That's right.
Yes. Thank
That's
you
what I
for
want.
trusting in the children. Thank you for coming to Ghana, West Africa. Any part of Africa will be good, but I'm
Yes.
biased. So
Yes.
thank you for coming to Ghana, West Africa. And I do believe we will be having more conversations about
Yes.
change, impact, life, how do we call it, mastery consultancy, and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of people need it. I know I need it. I know many of my listeners need it. And sometimes people need things that they don't know they need. And
That's right.
hopefully,
Mhm,
having those conversations
mhm.
will, bring it to awareness.
Yes.
Any last thoughts?
Thank you so much. I just really want folks to remember that whatever the dream is that is in your heart, whether it is to write a children's book or to write or to be an artist that is hiding inside you, whatever the dream is that is in your heart, it is in your heart because it is yours to bring out into the world, not for you to hold on to. Is for you to bring out into the world. And because it is in your heart, when you say yes to it, Spirit will help you to know what is the first step to take.
Mm,
You will take the first step before the next step shows up. So just trust.
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 And the right people will come your way, but be ready and prepared.
Yes. Just trust. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Oh, Mama, thank you so much. Guys, this has been the Nanaya Yabua Show with Sylvia Morrison, author, speaker, and everything in between. She's so full of love and passion. I, I don't know. The words are not enough to describe you,
Hmm.
Mama. But once again, I want to let you know I appreciate you and everything that you do. It takes a special human being to do what you do, because many of us will dream it, will talk, will say it, but that action
Hmm.
is lacking, and you are one woman of action and no excuses.
No excuses.
Yes,
Thank you.
I appreciate.